Today, we are going to be going over every whiskey that I scored 90 points or higher last year in 2024. So it's going to be nothing but bangers today. It'll be a fun one. I'm Jeff. This is G Whiskey. Stick around. So every whiskey that I scored 90 points or higher last year in 2024. Now, I am known to be kind of a generous scorer, and there were actually quite a few whiskeys that I got excited about last year. The way this works is that the scores are all pretty close, 90, 91, 92, but I want to rank them today. And the way I want to rank them isn't going to be by score, but in terms of reachability. So we're talking about value and just how often I come back to them. Anything for a YouTube list. Clicks above quality.
Did I say that out loud?
So yeah, this is going to be the best of the best from last year. I've got 9 whiskeys for you guys and not a single dud among them. In fact, you might go so far as to say that this is the best list I've ever put together, considering they're all 90 plus point whiskeys. Fuck yeah. As always, I do have a mystery pour in my glass. This is another whiskey that I scored 90 points or higher, but I scored it this year, so it doesn't get included on the list. Your hint for today is that this is from one of my all-time favorite brands, and it is an 18-year-old expression. So good luck guessing. Let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into this list. In the meantime, if you'll kindly leave a like down below, that'd be greatly appreciated. At the back of this list, we have Glencadam 25, which is fantastic stuff. This one actually got the highest score out of any whiskey on this list. I gave this one a 92. It is that good. And despite its very high age statement, it's actually still quite fresh and fruity and floral. Basically, this is everything that makes Glencadam good. It's more mature, it's more rounded, and it's more complex than the younger whiskeys in the lineup, but it's still got that vibrancy. The reason that I put this at the back of the list, though, is that I don't reach for it very much, and I don't reach for it very much because I don't own it, and I don't own it because I can't afford it. The bottle was lent to me by my buddy Lester. Lester, thank you very much, and he's actually still got it open. It's still on the go, and every time I visit him, I do ask for a cheeky pour because it is that good. So it comes in at number 9, Glencadam 25. Number 8 is AnCnoc 24, which got a score of 91, another banger. Of course it is, everything on this list is. This is the one I picked up years and years ago before it got really difficult to find and more expensive. I bought this one for 150 US years ago, and even though it's finished now, it isn't something I came back to too often because I was trying to stretch it out. I was trying to make it last because I knew it went up in price and that it was getting harder to find. So yeah, gone now, deeply missed. This is a very sherried, beautiful, rich, complex whiskey. Highly recommend it, AnCnoc 24. Number 7 is one of the best 18-year-old whiskeys on the market to this day. I absolutely love this stuff. I've got Ledaig 18, which I gave a score of 91. Incredible stuff. This one, despite its high age statement, has not lost its intense peatiness. It's also deeply sherried, and because it's a Ledaig, we also have that wonderful funkiness. I've been singing this one's praises for years. It's a great peach sherry combo. It's got affordability. It's got maturity. It's definitely worth checking out. Ledaig 18. Next up is going to be a controversial pick. I've got the youngest, or at least the youngest tasting whiskey on this list. Apparently it's no older than 6 years. I've got the Kilchoman Cognac cask, which I scored a 90. This one is a limited edition release or a special release from 2023. Kilchoman puts out these annual releases, typically with different cask maturations. And yeah, this one's the 2023 one. It did not get a lot of hype. Not a lot of people talked about it, but as far as I'm concerned, this is one of Kilchoman's finest. I am usually sensitive to younger whiskeys, but it just works here. And that's thanks to that wonderful cask influence. If you know me, you know I love brandy casks. So like Cognac casks, Armagnac casks, those kinds of things. They add a beautiful, soft fruitiness to whiskey that I consider to be one of the better cask influences out there. I wish it was more widely used within the industry. But all that aside, this one is a great one. And if you can still find it, it's worth checking out. Kilchoman Cognac cask. Number 5 is Bunnahabhain 18, which when I reviewed it last year, I scored a 91. I love that bottle, and I think when they get it right, Bunnahabhain 18 is one of the best 18-year-olds on the market. However, it is an inconsistent whiskey, and you actually never really know what you're getting with each bottle. I have had lesser bottles of this. In fact, the bottle I've got on the go right now, I consider to be not as good as the one I reviewed last year. In fact, the one I've got now wouldn't even break 90. Still a beautiful whiskey, but yes, it is worth noting that it is inconsistent. Still, it's sophisticated, it's sherried, beautiful cask influence when it's not over oaked, which can happen. As far as I'm concerned, Bunnahabhain, with regards to the range at least, is kind of hit or miss, but when they get it right, they are the best in the business. So there we go, Bunnahabhain 18. For number 4, we have another controversial one. This is a whiskey that I made a lot of noise about last year. It might be in the running along with the Kilchoman I just mentioned for being the youngest whiskey on this list. I don't know how old it is, but it is no age stated whiskey. I consider it to be beautiful. I still stand by this stuff. Talisker Parlay Wilder Seas. I gave this one a 90. I love it. A lot of people don't, so keep that in mind. Once again, we have Cognac casks at work here, which clearly works well for me. Yeah, I mean, it's just my kind of flavor. Especially when it's Cognac with peat. You get that gentle fruitiness from the casks, and in this case, you get that gentle Talisker peat. I think they work really well together. Also, it's worth noting that this is the cheapest whiskey on this list, so I consider it to be excellent bang for buck. It is one I recommend if you can still find it. This one also was a limited edition one-off from, I want to say last year or 2 years ago. Personally here, I can still find it. I don't know about your market, but if you can, Talisker Parlay Wilder Seas. Next is Bruichladdich 18, which was a very divisive whiskey because at 18 years old, this is from an era of Bruichladdich that was a little bit funkier. So people's mileage varied, but clearly I loved it, scored it in 91. Maturation was in bourbon, sauternes, and port casks, which sounds like it's going to be a very loud cask-driven whiskey, but ultimately this is actually quite distillate forward, which I appreciate. The funkiness here leans a little bit lactic, and I won't lie, despite being an 18-year-old with good flavor and complexity and intensity, this doesn't quite taste 18 years old. Like if you asked me blind, I would probably give it, I don't know, 15. It tastes a little bit younger than 18. But for me, it's just such an interesting mix of flavor, complexity, and weirdness that it always keeps me engaged. It keeps me coming back for more. It is not a technically perfect whiskey, and again, it will be divisive, but yeah, worth checking out. Bruichladdich 18. Number 2 is the Ardnamurchan Paul Noir release, which to this day I consider it to be the best release from the brand. They put this one out every year. The one I scored 90, was it 90 or 91 points? 90 points. The one I scored 90 points last year was the 2023 release. This stuff tastes a lot older than it should. I don't know how old it is. I'm guessing 6 or 7 years old. To me, this tastes more mature than the 10-year-old release that they put out last year. This one is cask strength. It is unpeated and it has this beautiful texture to it. This one has spent time in Paul Noir champagne casks. Champagne casks, white wine casks are kind of like brandy casks in the sense that I really do think they add a lot to a whiskey without overwhelming it, without overtaking the distillate, and I think they were used to great effect here. This stuff is an intense, complex, bright, beautiful, and sophisticated whiskey. Ardnamurchan Paul Noir. Number 1 is Roseisle 12 2023, and I do want to stress the 2023 release. The 2024 one I tried, it was nice, but it was not as good, and the 2023, man did I love it. I scored it a 91 and I peeled through a few bottles. I think between my friends and I, we've gone through 3 or 4. We all have bottles on the go currently, and speaking for myself, I have a few backups. It's just one that I loved that much. Now, Roseisle is this big, modern, automated distillery. It's designed to make a lot of different styles of whiskey for Diageo. They call it the Diageo Death Star. But what they're choosing to release as a single malt is bright, complex, floral, and delicate. Yes, this is quite expensive for a 12-year-old, but it is cask strength and it's packed with such beautiful flavors. And I think out of all the whiskeys that I went through last year or reached for often, this has to be the number 1. I came back to it so much and I loved every single sip. Roseisle 12 2023. All right, guys, that was the list. I hope you enjoyed it. Those were all the whiskeys that I reviewed and gave a high score to last year in 2024. And of course, this is where I put the question off to you guys. So regardless of what kind of scoring system you use, what was a whiskey that you discovered within the last year or two that you thought was just incredible? Finally, if you stuck around to find out what the mystery pour in the glass is here, I mentioned that this is also a 90+ point whiskey, but it is not something I reviewed last year. I reviewed it earlier this year in 2025. It's from one of my favorite brands. It's an 18-year-old. What I'm drinking is Longmorn 18 cask strength. This is an absolutely beautiful whiskey. A couple years back, Longmorn swapped out their old Secret Speyside collection for a cask strength collection. It is substantially more expensive, which is unfortunate, but the whiskeys themselves are undeniably beautiful. So if you've got the pocket change, this one is worth checking out. Longmorn 18 cask strength. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will bring us to the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. And if you want to help out with the channel, this channel is all me, from the scripting to obviously the editing, the shooting. It's all a one-man show. I do love doing it, but it is a lot of work. If you want to help me out, I've got Patreon and PayPal linked down below. patrons over here, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.